All right, we're on air. It is April 19th, everybody. This is a meeting to check in on community outreach task for Backdrop CMS. We are trying to use the website for outreach. What we're working on right now on the website is improving the modules, themes, and layout pages. In particular, we want to make it easier for people to know when it's a good time to update, maybe from Drupal 7. So giving them an easy way to figure out which modules are available or which modules are not necessary is definitely the way to go. I think since the last time we had this meeting, we added a page on backdropcms.org that lists all of the modules that aren't needed anymore in Backdrop, which is under the module developer notes section in the primary menu. But we haven't made very much progress on the modules, themes, and layouts search pages. We could definitely use, so we've got a meta issue. The meta issue is number 442 in the backdropcms.org queue. We have one issue that's specifically about implementing the designs, improving the design of the page. There's also a lot of follow-up issues that we need to work on relating to functionality. So if we have someone that's particularly interested in working on search or views filters, there are some issues there that could help make that process a little smoother. Also, maybe some layouts work involved in getting more than one column on the module search page so we can show modules that match your search, but also things that are relevant to your search that aren't modules, themes, or layouts. For example, things you don't need to install as modules on Backdrop should come up in a list in the sidebar, perhaps. And there's a content type for that already. Just needs to integrate with what we have. Other than the modules, themes, or layouts, sure. We have a section for Backdrop mentions at the bottom. We could do that next. So earlier this week, relating to our work on modules, themes, and layouts, Backdrop was featured on a weekly podcast called Cooking with Linux podcast, videocast. I don't know what it's called when it's a video podcast. Where the host installed Backdrop, Drupal 8, Joomla, and WordPress in that order. And he'd been a long-time Drupal user and recently moved off of Drupal 8 onto WordPress because the update process in Drupal 8 scared him away a little bit. It was too much work for the kinds of sites he was maintaining. And so he did a live install of each of those platforms, kind of general first impressions. And he ran into a couple of issues with Backdrop, things that we knew about that we have issues in the queue that we're working to fix, which is good. But it was nice to watch, live somebody struggling with the things fixed, but you don't really realize how it's affecting people. And then after Backdrop, he did Drupal 8, which I thought actually went pretty well. He had some serious beef, like personal history with Drupal 8, which was evident in how he talked about the interfaces and stuff, but I didn't see anything that was significantly worse than Backdrop. The only major difference was the ability to install modules, themes, and layouts are valuable, and Drupal still has the interface where you have to paste from a URL, which is something he didn't really like. But the process of creating pages and posts was very similar to Backdrop. And then after that, he did an install of Joomla, which I found really interesting because we haven't seen or I haven't seen Joomla in a very long time. It was kind of what I remembered from being about 10 years ago. Generally speaking, that there's a lot going on. There's a front-end site, there's a back-end site. It can be a little hard for people to tie together something on the front, something on the back. I think WordPress has a very similar problem with the back-end being sort of disconnected from the front end, but they do a better job of tying it together so you can get from front to back, where Joomla, the two are kind of completely dissociated. But his test involved installing from scratch, creating or editing an existing post, inserting an image, and changing a theme, and that was about it. And so depending on which platform he was on, those processes worked a little bit differently. So it was good to see how that worked in Joomla, but the on Backdrop, he was able to edit a post. On Drupal, he had to create one. On Joomla, he was able to edit one. On WordPress, he was able to edit one. He did inserting of images using the rich text editor. He didn't use image fields, which was an interesting, I think, just kind of a mental model. The people who are coming from WordPress are accustomed to rich text editor embedding rather than keeping everything separate, like in the world of Drupal. And the changing themes thing is also something that I think in the Drupal world we don't take very seriously, because everybody has a custom theme. Why would you install anything from Contrib? Or we forget that in the world of WordPress, like that's the most common thing people do, the first thing people want to do, and it really sets your impression of the software. So watching that was really great. So if anyone wants to see how that went, it was called the CMS Smorgasbord. There is a YouTube video. We can post it. It's been tweeted. Backdrop's tweeted it, I think, yesterday afternoon. It's posted in today's Backdrop Outreach meeting agenda. Anyone else who's interested, maybe we'll just throw that in Gitter right now, since there are people watching this video. I can't do that. Can you maybe do that with the YouTube link? And then that way, if anyone wants to watch it, they can. I think it's always really great for me to watch people have experience with software the first time, regardless of what software it is, because we can learn from mistakes they make when installing Joomla, for example, to things that we can make easier for Backdrop. So I thought it was a fantastic to all 4 platforms. Winner, which was exciting. But at the end, he was like, yeah, WordPress or Backdrop are both fine. Which is, it's hard to compete with WordPress. We know that. We're just trying to kind of take lessons from them and do the things that work. So that's also spurred about a bunch of conversation in today you want to work on to improve Backdrop. So it's always great to have a little extra enthusiasm from an external driver there to help get us moving on stuff. So thank you, everybody, for your continued participation in those issues. And definitely, if you see things you've had installing Backdrop, attention to GitHub and more progress on getting them done would be great. Is there anything in particular you wanted to add from those that install fest?
No, it was just related that we're working to improve the modules, themes, and layouts installation, and that seemed to be like a really heavy focus for him in particular. I think it just reinforces that people's initial impression of Backdrop can frequently include like the installation of a theme, and that's like this standard, like I'm doing an evaluation of a software, installing a theme and using the installer is a part of that process. So it's nice that ties in at least to the way that people are evaluating Backdrop and getting them to use it. So that's it.
Another place we could add that video is on the Backdrop CMS.org website. We have a section there for mentions. So I'll go ahead and add that after this meeting so that everyone can find it there in the future.
Oh, might be good to add it to our channel too, our YouTube channel.
Oh yeah. I'll see if I can figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I don't think we can actually add it into the stream of videos because it's not ours, but we can add it to a playlist at least.
Okay, yeah, we should do that. All right. So I don't know what else Backdrop's been doing recently. I've been so excited by the video. That's kind of where my focus has been. But if anyone else has heard anything great about Backdrop, you can always let us know and get her via Twitter or however, and we will try and keep track of it. We have our own noise we're trying to make a little bit about Backdrop. We're going to write some blog posts. I know there's a fantastic one that is currently unpublished that Klonos wrote 2 weeks ago after the big security release, but he's trying to get approval from his company to list their name and several of his employees' names in there. I don't think that. So I keep bugging him about it, but he's got a bunch of stuff going on. But I want to publish that blog post because it's really great. And then other blog posts we're working on, we should have something coming out really soon about the Software Freedom Conservancy. I've asked Karen to get a first draft of that, but they stopped asking Tom or maybe Facet Interactive if they want. We also have ongoing community spotlights. I have ideas for who we should interview for those. As of recently, we've had a bunch more activity going on, which would pick those up again if we want. And Backdrop 110 is coming out soon. So we'll have a blog post up a new feed when that's ready. Newsletter. Our newsletter is currently on hold because we don't have anything to tell. So be able to send out a newsletter. We have a lot of stuff going on. We just haven't managed to write it down. So if anyone has writing skills or Backdrop could use some help, definitely let us know. We could get you to help us draft some blog posts or newsletter copy. Videos. I have a great idea for a 5-minute video on how to do a completely unbranded page in Backdrop. I think I tried to make one of those last time, but I had some technical trouble, so I might try that again today. I did manage to get one video out, which was highlighting the status indicator icon, which I was really excited about, but somehow haven't gotten the next one done yet. If anyone else has some feature about Backdrop they really love and want to show off, definitely feel free to make a 5-minute video. Do it, including Google Hangouts, which will automatically post to YouTube. I think there's a checkbox for that. And then you can tag us somehow, I guess maybe via Twitter or in our Gitter channel or whatever, and we'll add that video to our playlist, as Nate mentioned, and people will be able to see it. Okay, Twitter. There's been a lot of noise in Twitter recently because it was DrupalCon last week, so everybody's talking about various different Drupal things, and I haven't been paying a lot of attention to specifically what's going on with Backdrop. But if there's anything urgent, we should be letting anyone know. The only thing I can think of that's super time sensitive is that we have DrupalCamp Utah with Backdrop session coming up on May 4th. So I have a note to tweet about that. But if there's anything else we should be telling anyone out about, we can do that.
What about something that came out of DrupalCon was that there was an EDU meetup where a bunch of educational organizations got together and talked about what to do about their giant install bases.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah, do we want to mention that?
Oh. Well, we don't know what's going to come of it yet, but yeah, there was a whole line of communication at DrupalCon between higher education institutions who are currently using Drupal, trying to figure out what they're going to do with their future. Backdrop has been on their radar for a while, but I think it wasn't until recently that they are seriously considering. They were seriously considering Drupal 8 as their favorite path forward, but due to the way things have been going for projects that they're currently doing on 8, they're starting to have second thoughts. And so we've got a meeting scheduled tomorrow that'll involve a bunch of people from higher ed, just ask the way Backdrop works, the way the community works, what it would be like if they were to choose Backdrop, address any technical concerns they have or otherwise. So I'm not sure whether that's going to lead to anything actionable for Backdrop, but it is a fantastic conversation to be having. I'm personally very excited about it because I think Backdrop would be a great fit for higher ed. But they have, they have a lot invested in what they have already, and they need to think about it carefully. So yeah, it'll be a good conversation. Is there anything else you wanted to include in that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're it's the same thing for everyone who's invested heavily in Drupal 7, is they've got to figure out which way to go for the future. And I definitely would recommend for anyone making that decision to try all the options, right? Like if you want to move to Drupal 8, try Drupal 8 first. That's not moving your 500 sites or however many over, and see what it's like. And if you love it, then that's great. That's the way for you to go. But if you don't love it, there are other options. Backdrop's one of them. WordPress is another one. Moving to something custom is another one. And I would recommend test driving all of those tools to see which one might be the right fit. Ask questions too about any of those options, even better. So I'm looking forward to having the conversation tomorrow, and we'll see where people land afterwards. My hope is that they'll give it a try and see what they think. Um, last week, I don't know if we're going to have a DrupalCon write-up. Last year we did. Someone from the community attended and wrote up a fantastic blog post. I don't know if we'll get that. We're definitely open to it. So if someone wants to write up their experience at DrupalCon and post a blog on backdropcms.org, we could do that. Drupal Camp Stanford was also the same, was like the weekend right before DrupalCon. And that was closer to home for us. So Nate and I went there. We did a session on Backdrop, which was fairly well received. I would also be open to having anyone else who was at Drupal Camp Stanford do a write-up on that event if they wanted to. Just, you know, it seemed like spirits were high, which was great. There were a lot of people from UC system there and various places around California because they're not allowed to travel to Tennessee. So they came to Stanford Camp instead. So it's kind of a nice alternative for people who are based in California to go to Stanford. And next event, as I mentioned, is Drupal Camp Utah. Anyone who's interested in throwing a Drupal event where you want to have Backdrop sessions, you're welcome to post it on our website. All you need is the Backdrop user account. You can post it there. Oh, CivvyCon, I think, is the same week. Civvy Camp. There's a SF area Civvy Camp. I think it's May 3rd instead of May 4th here in Oakland, California, where Backdrop will also be heavily featured. We're going to try and do a session, maybe a panel on Civvy and Backdrop together. So that'll be fun. Maybe let people know about that. Okay, so that I think is all I have on our list for today. Is there anything else outreach related we should talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Meeting in half an hour that'll be specifically to talk about development tests for Backdrop CMS. So if there's anything in particular you want to work on or you want us to work on, or if you just want to come say hi, anyone's welcome to join any of those Google Hangouts at any time. You can always watch them live and then they'll be broadcasted on YouTube later. So if you aren't available, you can see them then. So yeah, it's a great update for outreach this week. Generally speaking, outreach is something us developers are not super good at. So if you have expertise in these areas, you think there's things we should be doing that we're not, we're definitely open to feedback. You can use Twitter or Gitter or email us at info@backdropcms.org to help get involved. That's it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And thanks. Bye.